Math 1332, Chapter 7, Consumer Mathematics. Section 7, Compound Interest. Video 5, Finding the Principal for a Given Future Value. Sometimes when you invest money in an account that draws interest compounded on a regular basis, the question isn't how much money will I end up with if I start with a certain amount now? The question is, if I want a certain amount in the future, how much do I need to invest right now? So we're going to find the principal for a certain future value. For example, you want to invest some lottery winnings into an investment that pays 4.5% interest compounded monthly. If the term of the investment is 5 years, how much would you need to invest today to end up with a future value, of 10,000? Let's start by listing everything we have and what we want. The first information we're given is the 4.5%. That should be pretty clear that that is the interest rate. And knowing that we're going to use it in a formula, we need to change it to a decimal by moving, or rather turn it out of a percent. It already has a decimal. By moving the decimal 2 places to the left, that would give us 0.045. Let's see, what are we given next? Compounded monthly. That's the only number that's given to us, not in the form of a number. N is the number of times per year interest is compounded. So monthly is 12 times per year. We're told that the term is 5 years. And we're told that the future value, which is A, is 10,000. Let me clean this up. That's a little bit better. I also organized everything to the left. And what is it we're being asked to find? How much would you need to invest today? We're being asked to find the principal. General equation strategy, or general problem solving strategy here, is to find an equation that ties all of this together. Of course, that equation is the equation for compound interest. The problem with the equation for compound interest is it doesn't tell us what P equals, it tells us what A equals. So how can we use this to find this? That's what we're solving for. We want to know what P equals, so it would be nice if we have a formula that says P equals. Now there's 2 ways to do this. Number 1, plug in the numbers and then solve for P. Number 2, solve for P and then plug in the numbers. I'm going to choose the latter. I'm going to choose to solve for P to create a new formula that says P equals, and then we'll substitute all our numbers. Now, the only reason the P isn't by itself is because it's multiplied by something. And I'll admit that the something that it's multiplied by is kind of big and chunky, this whole thing here. But it doesn't matter how large the thing is that P is multiplied by. The reason P is not by itself is because it is times something. How do you get rid of something that's multiplied? You divide. So what I'm going to do to solve for P is I'm going to divide both sides by the thing that is preventing the P from being by itself, which is this parentheses. Now that's a pretty large something to divide by, but that's okay. And by doing that, we get to cancel all that with all that, and that will leave the P by itself. And so we get a formula that says P equals A over 1 plus R over N to the NT power. Now, if you want to call this the formula for present value for principal, that's fine. If you just want to use the original formula and solve for it each time, that's fine as well. But there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, here's a new formula. It's really the original formula just rearranged, but it serves a different purpose. The original formula calculates future value. This formula calculates present value. Now, the issue with this formula is the structure of it. It's got a fraction and it's got exponents, both of which might invoke some extra parentheses. So let's go ahead and throw some extra parentheses in here where we're going to need them. Because remember the rule for using a calculator. If you have a fraction with more than a single number on either side, you should put parentheses, you should put parentheses around that side of the fraction. And if you have an exponent with more than a single number, you should put parentheses around it. So let's move this to the next page, clean it up a little bit, and then we'll see what our answer is. Okay, here's our formula. And let's see what it looks like when we write it and everything. I'm going to write this from left to right by just reading the formula and putting the numbers in when necessary. P equals, the top is A, but A is 10,000, divided by, there are 1, 2 open parentheses on the bottom at the beginning, 1 plus R 0.045 divided by N, which was 12. Close the red parentheses here. Press your exponent button, whatever it looks like. Open up the parentheses on the exponent. N is 12 times T is 5. Close the parentheses on the exponent. Close the parentheses on the denominator, and then press equals. I strongly recommend getting out a calculator, putting this in, and see if we get the same answer. I'm going to pause the video while I do that. I'm going to type exactly what I just wrote, starting with the 10,000. And to the nearest cent,